Hello, guys. Sorry, I have to get that on mute. Anyway, hello, guys. We are gonna be watching Matteo Arnaldi against Artur Cazaux in Barcelona. Quite a lot of matches today in Barcelona already. Of course, it's that bigger event, the 500 with 48 players in its draw. The 16 seeds get basically get a bye in the opening round, but the 32 other players start from the first round. We have 9 matches, I think, on the schedule today. 2 of them have already finished. Brandon Nakashima beat Dan Evans. That was the match directly on the court that we're watching right now. Just before Arnaldi Cazaux, and also Facundo Diaz Acosta beat Daniel Rincon. Now, Cazaux Arnaldi, a very exciting matchup between the two youngsters. Arnaldi probably more a part of the tour at the moment. Cazaux still kind of on the outside looking in, although, of course, after the Australian Open, he's definitely way more in there already. Cazaux, this is his first match since that heat stroke he suffered in Miami. So we don't actually know that much about his physicality going forward, going into this one. He was supposed to come back like a week earlier, but he actually decided to skip it. I think I saw some photos of him practicing even last week, so the assumption is that he's going to be fine physically. Still, it's Arnaldi who's the favorite, kind of the better clay player probably in the long run as well. They haven't played each other on the Pro Tour yet, but they actually played in the juniors and 2019 French Open, I think it was, when Cazaux beat Arnaldi 6-2, 6-3. Personally, I would like to see a tight match as basically Cazaux post Australian Open. He's kind of gone back to that mode where like he's serve botting, yes, but otherwise it's kind of hard for him to take over from the baseline. I mean, I remember that match very well with Rublev, for example, in Miami, where not Miami, in Dubai, where he just sort of blasts every single serve. Yes, he's got a very high ace rate, but off the baseline he's getting completely dominated, and that's been happening to him quite a lot recently. Poor performances in Indian Wells and Miami. Miami, he actually almost won that match, though, still against Arol Mayo, but then again, the heat stroke, collapsing on the court, a viral video from that. Hopefully, he's just going to be fine today. As a matter of fact, like 3 years ago, when he was like having his first Pro Tour breakthroughs, basically some of the best wins actually came on clay. He beat Sebastian Corda and Adrian Manarino that year. One was Madrid, one was something else. I don't even remember what the event was. Was it like Geneva? Geneva, I guess. So maybe he's not going to be totally worthless here. Obviously, he's not going to be totally worthless, but I'm just saying, it's not like he can't play on clay. It's probably not what he's going to be most effective at going forward. But today, we'll see. Arnaldi still trying to find balance in his game, generally speaking. Kind of not sure if he should rely on that speed and athleticism on the defense or go after the ball with his ball striking talent. Maybe if that becomes a thing today as well, maybe if he's like overly aggressive, Cazaux can actually take this one, provided he's back healthy. So far, a breakpoint for Cazaux. There was this 30-15 drop shot from Arnaldi, which he missed, and now another error into the net. And let's see what happens on the breakpoints. He goes to the net. He goes for the drop shot again. And it's not good enough, but Cazaux doesn't punish it. He basically waited around a little bit, I think, the Frenchman, to see where Arnaldi goes, which was a good choice, And eventually the angle that he was going for, cross-court, it was fully open. He had everything his way there. He had everything he wanted, but he just missed that last ball into the net. So very easily could have been a break already. Next game, we would sort of check out how Cazaux would do on serve, whether it was going to be as dangerous as it's been in the indoor hardcourt season, for example, but Australian Open as well. But maybe he can still break here as he sets up another breakpoint. Found this nice forehand for him to for himself to crack it really from the middle of the court, and that sets up another opportunity for the Frenchman right away. This time not making the first serve, Arnaldi, so the chance becomes even clearer. It's a nice return from Cazaux, and he's going to get a point for it, forcing the error on Arnaldi's backhand side. Right away, a perfect start to the match for the returning Artur Cazaux. Returning both in terms of returning serve in that game, but also returning because, as I said, this is the first time he's playing since that heat stroke that he suffered in Miami, since he basically fainted onto the court. Still a very healthy 13-6 win-loss record for the year, but the last three events only 1-3. So before that he was 12-3, I guess. Yeah. So obviously that's a big difference in that regard. Arnaldi is like kind of constantly on the verge of a breakthrough, but can't quite get it done. Of course, beating Fritz in Acapulco was a bit of a breakthrough, same like the Ruud win last year in Madrid. Then Miami round 4, but he doesn't threaten Thomas Mahac in the fourth round. And in Monte Carlo, he actually suffered a pretty surprising defeat to Sumit Nagal, which in turn did not allow him to compete against Holger Rune. Maybe Arnaldi just doesn't want to play Rune, because I remember last year at Wimbledon, it was the second round matchup that I was probably most excited by, a potential second round matchup. But then Arnaldi, kind of out of nowhere, lost to Roberto Carballes Baena on the grass courts in London. So maybe it's just Arnaldi avoiding Rune for whatever reason. Let's see what Cazaux can bring to the table in his service game. Of course, so far this year, his first serve has been incredible, and it's been a thing for many years now. That basically with his height, which is like 6 feet, I guess, more or less on the dot, it's very hard to find a server who's stronger. Wawrinka, Watanuki, maybe out of the current players, but Cazaux is definitely right up there. And the serve sets him up well here, but he's going to lose the point. Was a little out of position on that backhand, didn't go after it fully. Kind of reminds me of Nardi against Sejbov-Wild. That match just finished in Bucharest, a few minutes ago. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happened there, but that was quite a wild scenario. I mean, Nardi at 5-3, 40 all on return in the third set. He injures himself. He lost the match after missing 5 match points before the injury came. And one of these match points was actually very similar. Sort of him trying to approach the net, or at least, being in the forecourt, but not doing enough on the backhand down the line. And in turn, it like kind of landed in the middle. And he also lost that point with a Sejbov-Wild pass. Here, Cazaux didn't try to track down whatever Arnaldi played at him, but he didn't manage. But there's the first ace of the match from the 2020 Australian Open Juniors runner-up. As I said, they've played once in the Juniors 2019 French Open, but Cazaux won pretty easily, 6-2, 6-3, I think. But of course, in the Juniors, he was a much more prominent figure than Matteo Arnaldi. Now 30 all though, so it's not going that easy. But another unreturned serve, that's already the third 3-point on serve in this game for Cazaux. But one of them was definitely a return that Arnaldi could have made. This one, let's say it was a 50-50. Can he get that second game on the board and consolidate the early break that he has just gotten off Arnaldi? Throws in the kick, but already Arnaldi is in the point. However, he misses the forehand. So quite a few sloppy errors from the Italian's racket right now. And for now, it's Cazaux leading 2 games to love. Yeah, Gene, Nardi getting injured definitely did change the match completely, change the outcome of it. Very brutal to miss 5 match points. I think 4 of them, he didn't really have much to do. I mean, there was a +1 winner, there was an unreturned serve. There were a couple where like Sejbov-Wild forced out an error from him very quickly, and maybe he could have gotten the ball. But it's not a big deal. But there was this one where he had a proper opportunity, but just didn't go for the line. Really didn't go for any like real placement on the backhand approach. and got past. But of course, after that, well, he still had the chance to serve it out. If he was healthy, maybe he would have done it. Probably he would have done it, but obviously that didn't happen. He still kept playing though, and he was actually winning some points of Save of Vid. I mean, he got to deuce in that game where he was trying to serve it out, despite barely moving. Like he could really just stand and hit balls. Like that's kind of all he could do at that stage. But he also won a game at 5-6 to get it to a tiebreak. It's just that in the tiebreak he was never winning 7 points, even with Save of Vid being kind of just rattled by what was happening. So far, this match has been a bit of an error fest. Arnaldi snapping on that first forehand in the first point. Now Cazaux tries to take the second serve return early, but it's a complete miss. It's a complete fail. So you can definitely see these guys playing at a stronger level as the match goes on. Nice recovery for Cazaux, and he actually gets to dictate in this point, not in the end. But I like that forehand open stance that he returned to the point in. RBA takes the first set, says Gene as well. Yes, he's playing Roman Safiulin, who's, well, a bit of an error machine on clay most of the time. What do I think of Darderi versus Navone? It's a tough one. I mean, last year when they played two challenger, well, one was a semi-final, one was a final, I think. At the end of the year, like that was amazing battles. And then this year, of course, Darderi beat Navone in Buenos Aires, 6-2, 6-1. That was kind of scary. I kind of tend to think that Navone in the long run might have a stronger success on the European clay than Darderi. But then again, like both of these guys 2 weeks ago, they made ATP Tour semis, right? So they're both really like continuing their golden swing form. In fact, I think Navone still has a lot more to show. Like I think the tennis that he played to win Rio, I mean to make the final in Rio, it actually wasn't as good as some of his challenger runs last year. Maybe that's controversial, maybe not. I think Navone maybe is a slightly stronger player in these sort of clay conditions, like we have in Bucharest, but I'm not too confident about that. No, definitely that Buenos Aires match earlier this year that kind of made me question whether Navone actually will be competitive against Darderi every single time. By the way, another breakpoint for Cazaux. He had a phenomenal backhand drop shot on the fourth point of this game. And now Arnaldi, just yet another error. It's getting kind of frustrating to watch Arnaldi as well in the last few months, I gotta say, because, well, obviously there's so much potential there. The ball striking talent is incredible. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't feel like he's using it properly, right? He's just sometimes just going out there and crushing the ball without any real sense and intent. I mean, with intent, but like without any real purpose. And kind of maybe forgot about some of the things that made him great as he was going up. But there's still time. I do think that this is a match he kind of would like to be winning, on clay courts against Cazaux. Manages to push the Frenchman to a deep defensive position in this point. Cazaux can't quite squash shot his way into that point, and it's going to be a game point for Arnaldi now. Is this the first one, actually? I guess it's the first opportunity that Arnaldi has to clinch a game in this match. And he finds an ace. So that first serve coming in very clutch here. On the break point, it was a serve on the line that Cazaux couldn't return. And on the game point, it's an ace down the tee. So 2-1 up, Cazaux still up a break. John says that media food is amazing in Stuttgart, better than the spaghetti with a chicken leg. Spaghetti with a chicken leg was a very fun dish, I have to say, in Estoril. We did have that. But I actually enjoyed it. Spaghetti with a chicken leg was probably my favorite dinner in Estoril. meatballs and a veggie alternative with vegetables and a nice creamy mushroom sauce. Sounds okay. The Estoril food selection, I would say, was not amazing, but as someone who travels to Challenger Tour events frequently, I am amazed when we get anything there, like even bottled water. So basically, for me, it was still heaven. It was actually the first time, really, in my tennis traveling career that I went to an event. I made I basically went shopping on Monday, and I just had too much food because I wasn't expecting the fact that after all these days at the venue, when they give us both lunch and dinner, that I was just gonna be full. But obviously, I'm not complaining. I brought some food back home as well from the things that I bought in Portugal because I just didn't have time to eat it. We should definitely start a Talking Tennis series about reviewing food at events. I don't know if the events would be very happy though, because well, if it puts them in a good light, yes, but if it's the other way around. All right, and Cazaux serving at 1-2, survives a few shots from Arnaldi here. The Italian eventually tries to go down the line and nets it. Both can rely on their first serve so far, maybe not getting them in at like a ridiculous percentage, but they can rely on getting some free points. And in the rallies, it's kind of been Arnaldi who's been the main actor, and that's maybe not even good for him because it usually ends with an error. Lee can definitely trouble Layal, Gerald Campagna Lee. I hope not. I mean, we just talked about Layal the last week, right? That kind of could use a big run. Campaign no Dakhili. Dakhili. Dakhili drew him. Nah, I don't see it then. These are the desserts that we have on the screen. Oh, that definitely looks better than in Ashtori. John was complaining about the Ashtori desserts quite a lot. I was fine with them. There was some sort of like a pear mash or something like that, which was okay. You could also take some fruits, and I was doing that quite a lot. They basically said in the media guidelines that you can have fruit or dessert. Usually, I took both. Sue me. I don't think it was that, strict. That's a nice point for Cazaux. Lures Arnaldi forward with the drop shot, then passes him down the line. At least I think he made a pass. Yes, indeed, the point is on the scoreboard. Yeah, it was definitely in. Not doing that much damage with his baseline shots so far, but as long as he's staying consistent and also coming up with maybe an option or two like this every game, it's not looking bad for him so far at all. Whoa, that's a rocket of a backhand crosscourt from Arnaldi, though. It's really fascinating how his development has been progressing. In that, he was such a just a fast defensive player a couple of years ago who was really willing to learn in terms of trusting his shots and just getting more comfortable on the offense. And now he's just kind of, well, he's more aggressive than Cazaux, basically. I don't know if he's going to win the match because of it, but that's clearly what he intends to do. Maybe it's just yet another part of his progress. Maybe it's just yet another part of the big plan, and it will eventually make him into an even better player. I really was that serve out? I would say in. And I guess I would be right then. Yes, it's an ace for Cazaux at deuce, so he's gonna get another game point. He's kinda letting Arnaldi have a crack at a lot of these huge forehands though. And eventually I doubt it will end well. Crazy point here though. Arnaldi eventually wins it. I thought that when he played that volley, Cazaux probably wasn't gonna get it. Then when Cazaux actually got to it, it seemed like Arnaldi might have an issue getting that last volley into, well, maybe not into the court, but like away from his reach. But he actually did. So we're back to deuce. But again, it was kind of a point where Cazaux eventually plays a pretty like a pretty conventional ball, just semi-long, kind of down the middle, and Arnaldi, kind of at a pretty good height for Arnaldi as well to attack it, and then Matteo eventually just has a crack at it, and that's kind of how the point ends. Of course, it still required 2 or 3 more shots, but that's better though. +1 forehand winner. Wasn't even that short the return, but I guess he really delayed the stroke nicely and was able to pick a direction where Arnaldi definitely wouldn't go. Barely gets that second serve in. Let's see what he can do in the actual point. Yeah, it's an error from Cazaux once again. Towson mentioned her opponent tanking in your interview. It's the same what actually Joris Delors told me in Vilnius, I think last year when he played Striker, that like, yeah, he just kind of had no intention to play today. And it is surprising when they say it, yes. Am I surprised Bruno Kuzuhara has not progressed much? No, absolutely not. I mean, have you seen his game? If there was any hype, then it was not, well, let's just say if there was any hype, then it was not really like directed by people who actually watched his matches, I think. Just sort of looked at, Australian Open champion. But when you had that final, Menchik Kuzuhara, 3 hours, 43 minutes, no one in the stadium or anything was excited about Kuzuhara. It's the same with the Shang Rincon final, Rincon won it, US Open 2021, but you could see that Shang is just a much better prospect. Would Oliveira be getting paid much by Venezuela? Do you think late time to change? Apparently, Gonzalo has been, or Goncalo, or Gonzalo right now. I don't know which version of his name to use. He's been having struggles with the Portuguese Federation for years, and also with some of his Portuguese colleagues. Apparently, not too liked there. So I don't know if it's even that big a paycheck for him, probably. But no, it could be part of the deal. It could be part of the deal. Does Alcaraz have tennis elbow? I mean, I haven't heard anything about that. I know what a tennis elbow is, but I don't know. Anyway, 15 all. That's a return that Cazaux should be reaching, but he kind of misjudged where the ball would land in terms of his strike zone. In the meantime, Navone starting against Darderi in Bucharest. I'll probably be mentioning some of the Barcelona matches too. Nice pick up at the net here from Arnaldi, just touches it softly, no reason to hit through it. We also have Ajdukovic and Trunheliti now on the court. That's a pretty interesting one. I mean, you kind of can't believe that it's a ATP 500 match, but yeah, both guys qualified, and one of them will get a really nice paycheck and a really nice point gain as well for this match. Maybe even an opportunity to keep going. Who knows? 40-15 Arnaldi now trying to move into the court after that forehand approach shot, but he misses it into the net. Definitely quite sloppy-ish so far, but you can see that he has more in his baseline strokes. You can see that he's easier. He has an easier time just taking over when he has a shorter ball or just a neutral rally. So far, it hasn't really turned into much for him, though, with Cazaux serving pretty well and staying a bit more solid. And it's another ace down the tee for Arnaldi, so 3-2 up now. Cazaux will just eliminate the mark so that it doesn't come up in any future disputes. Navone with a chance to go double break up already against Darderi. That's Bucharest, of course, and it seems like we will be playing in Munich finally. They had to mix up the schedule a little bit, and Reberg Mikkelsen has been moved to the to court number 1. But it seems that they will be on the court shortly. At least from what I can see, Draper has won the coin toss, so that's what I'm basing this on. Yeah. He had some beefs with the Portuguese Federation and the players. Not really sure what about, but he did. So probably that's a main part of the switch. But maybe they did come up to him and sort of said, "Yeah, so we can give you money. We know that you don't like the federation in your country. Maybe I don't really know." Any other Venezuelan players right now? Really, is Martinez from Venezuela the doubles specialist? For now, so in the top 1,000 of the ATP rankings in singles, there's only Oliveira at the moment. And when it comes to Luis David Martinez, is Venezuelan. I wasn't lying there, but otherwise nothing really. But Oliveira and Martinez in Davis Cup would be pretty fun. It would be a pretty fun doubles pairing. I don't know who else they could have on the second singles though. There was Roberto Maitin. No, but Roberto Maitin was from which country was he? He was from Venezuela as well, right? But Roberto Maitin, I think, is not playing anymore. Probably retired like a few years ago. But he used to be a top 100 doubles player too. I think he had cancer and then survived it or something like that. Let's go back to discussing spaghetti. What's your favorite pasta shape, Ghosty, then? I feel like that's always a good discussion. So many out there. I kind of tend to like the more adventurous ones, Anytime you have something weird in terms of the shape. But my main problem, though, is that basically recently I've only been eating whole wheat pasta because it has twice, basically the regular one has like twice as many calories. However, when it comes to whole wheat, there's just not that much you can choose from in terms of the shapes, at least in the more, easily accessible shops here. So I basically can choose between spaghetti, penne, and maybe that's even it. Although recently I found this fusilli as well. It was like a limited edition in the shop. And but yeah, if you're eating like regular grain pasta, then it's a little easier to go wild on the shape. Love 30 in the meantime. That's Cazaux going a little wild on the shape of his hitting here, trying to add a lot of spin to that last shot and failing. So we might be seeing a turnaround here, but let's see. Once again, the first serve comes to the rescue. Arnaldi isn't sure if it was in, but he just comes to cover up the mark. 15-30. Cazaux will need that strong serving here. Plays a drop shot, but it's not going to be good enough. And Arnaldi just picks it off easily. So two chances to break back for the Italian, who's, I mean, as I said, I mean, he's definitely been like dominating most of these baseline rallies so far. If he's losing them, then it's mostly due to his errors that he can probably cut down on as the match goes on, I would assume. So far, 4 points in this game, and the only one that Arnaldi, that Cazaux won was with a big serve. And I think we've had a few of his games go like this already, despite him actually, not coming that close to losing his serve yet. But once again, we are in a rally. Let's see if Cazaux becomes more proactive right now or not. Nah, he's just letting Arnaldi have a bit of a free hit here, and Arnaldi spreads the court very well, eventually opens up the down the line forehand angle, and we are back to 3 games all. I would have to say that this is a deserved break. I mean, 5 points, one unreturned serve, and the 4 baseline rallies won by Arnaldi. And that's kind of been the match the last 2 or 3 games, especially. So it's not looking that good for Cazaux anymore. Maybe the first game he had this one great point when he really unleashed on the forehand and tried to move forward. He had that great drop shot as well in the fourth game, but otherwise it's kind of been all about Arnaldi so far, and I'm not sure that's the way to go unless Arnaldi just makes 100 errors, which is of course possible. It's not like Cazaux is keeping it ultra clean though. Yeah, it's just been very hard for Cazaux to open up the court for himself, to maybe go to the net, which of course is a big part of his game usually. He hits that pretty decent backhand here. I thought maybe that was going to be the incentive. Maybe that was going to be, something he follows up. And yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't even close, in fact. Nice serve for Arnaldi. Will he just clinch the game? That's what it seems, although he needs to hit that smash. Cazaux defending, but he misses the pass. So 4-3 for Arnaldi, as he's really turned the set around the last few minutes and has a lot of momentum on his side here. Oh, Farfalle, I absolutely know, yeah. Farfalle was actually pretty often my pasta of choice when it comes to, again, like regular, grain pasta. But now that I am um, basically trying to limit my calorie intake, maybe, or at least eat more while not getting that many calories, I kind of can't do anything. But about that. But farfalle is definitely one of the ones that I really like. In fact, I think I have some farfalle here too, because when I was there with, yeah, of course I do. When I was there with John in Portugal, I just figured that okay, so I'm probably not gonna be eating all that much during the day because we're gonna be busy at the event. So that's why I'm actually gonna buy regular grain pasta or whatever, however you want to call it. So that's why I bought, something normal, and I bought farfalle actually. So I still have it, but I will use it maybe like if there's a day later in the evening when I know that I still haven't eaten that much. That's what I'm gonna eat. Otherwise, I'm just going for these whole wheat things. That's a very funny comment from Jane as well. Sandwich or baguette? Hmm. I don't know if I eat that many sandwiches. I mean, just regular, toasts, sandwiches from like a sandwicher are pretty okay. I actually bought myself one, a sandwich maker recently. Um, I'm not really using it all that much, but I did buy myself one. I used to eat when I was like in junior high. I used to eat in Subway quite a lot, but then it got really expensive in Poland, so there's no real there's no sense to go for it anymore to me. But I have to say that Subway is like kind of tastes the same every single time, regardless of what sort of additions you take. Especially when you put on like 8 different types of vegetables, it just ends up all tasting the same. So I guess I don't really have a favorite sandwich. Or maybe I can just answer anything in a tortilla is good. Of course, that's not sandwich or baguette really, but it is a wheat product. It is grainy, so starchy, whatever. But yeah, so I guess I have to say anything in a tortilla, any wrap. That's kind of my go-to. 30-15 Cazaux at 3-4. In the meantime, I will probably talk about some other matches happening as well on the changeover. But it's going to be out this return from Arnaldi. So it looks like Cazaux might get sort of, back in the game here. I don't know if he's like properly earned it, but we'll see. At least he snaps that nice momentum of Arnaldi if he wins the game, right? Because the last couple of games, it was just all going the way of the Italian. But still has to clinch it here. We'll see if he can. Slice, Arnaldi drop shots. Cazaux will get to it, but not early enough to put it over. Well, he put it over the net, just not into the court. So it's 40-30, and I still don't know how exactly Cazaux attempts to win this match. Probably some of you actually watched that Rublev Cazaux match with me in Dubai. I remember doing the watch along for that, and it was pretty similar. Like you just couldn't really tell how Cazaux wants to win, and it's kind of the same here. I guess just kind of hoping to serve well and then for Arnaldi to make some errors. Matteo, does he have something in his eyes? I think so. Just poured a bit of water into his eyes. Maybe it's a moth, mosquito, or whatever, a fly. I was playing on indoor clay recently, and like I had this one particle of clay fall into my eye as well, and it was very hard to get it out. In fact, I don't think I did eventually. I mean, it eventually fell out, but like I just kept playing after like a bit of a delay trying to get it out. 4 games all. Wild error miss, wild return miss from Arnaldi. Yeah, BJ King Cup definitely sort of is making an organized effort for Clara Towson to get for Clara Towson to talking tennis and go all out. But maybe we're gonna be big like this sometime soon. Indoor clay, I literally can't imagine. There's a fair few indoor clay courts. I mean, some of them are just like, it doesn't even need to be like a proper hall. There's just this balloon that you kind of only have there for the winter, and then when the summer season comes along, you just take that down, and it's a regular outdoor court. But that's still indoor clay. But yeah, there used to be an ATP Tour event in São Paulo that was played on indoor clay. Of course, currently we have this week on the WTA Tour, Stuttgart and Rouen. Indoor clay is a pretty nice profile for me because it tends to be faster, tends to be maybe like a more truer bounce than outdoors on clay. So I do like playing on it quite a lot. 15 all here. Is this a nice opportunity for Cazaux to crack a ball? Yes, but the net court kinda. Yeah, the net court doesn't really work in his favor, but what a passing shot here. Arnaldi definitely not doing enough with the approach. No power, no precision really, just kind of pushing the ball onto the other side of the net and rushing the net. But nice reaction from Cazaux to go after that forehand pass. Gets to 15-30, so maybe all of a sudden we will have Arnaldi in trouble. And in fact, we will, because a like a semi-deep return from Cazaux is enough for him to throw out this backhand. So 2 break points for the Frenchman, who was looking lost 5 minutes ago, and he still isn't doing all that much, let's say. But he found that pass, and that was pretty crucial. And now has 2 great opportunities to serve for the opening set. Return is pretty short. Arnaldi having a chance to dictate, but he will throw out the backhand. So once again, just kind of overly aggressive, and it's 5-4. Thank you, Sean. The Talking Tennis seems more professional than other channels. Frankly, don't have too much of a comparison, but it's nice to hear that. Marco Trungelliti, in the meantime, 6-2 over Duja Ajdukovic in the first set in Barcelona. Keen probably not too happy about it, given he was thinking that Ajdukovic can beat Jari earlier. We also have Roberto Bautista Agut against Safiulin. The Spanish veteran won the first set, and they are on serve in the second. Navone up a break on Darderi in Bucharest, and I guess Munich actually has not kicked off. Draper will serve, but they haven't started yet, so I guess there's more rain coming. I'm very interested in where the qualifiers land in Bucharest as well, because that's the only event that we have this week on the ATP Tour, which is finishing their qualifying today. And some of the opportunities there in the main draw, I mean, one of the qualifiers will play Kovacevic, who hasn't won a red clay match in his career. Not counting Houston, by the way, but we know that Houston is hard through. Houston is actually not, natural clay, it's synthetic. And another opportunity also there is Kokinakis, who is flying over from Sarasota. And I just don't know how that works out for him, right? I mean, Sarasota final on Sunday noon, I think it started. And then he has to play in Bucharest on Tuesday. That's not easy. So quite a few opportunities there for the qualifiers. I think especially Vacheron could take advantage of that. Right now we have a match between Barrère and Puy too. That's going to be the last qualifying final round of qualifying today. Anyway, let's see if Arthur Cazaux can hold. I think he's only been broken once so far, but now is the most important game of the opening set, basically, as he is trying to close it out. Still hasn't really played anything sensational, but the errors once again piling up from Arnaldi in the last game. And once again, he tries to be very aggressive on return and just it's 1 meter away. I wonder when Arnaldi will sort of figure things out, because really the last couple of months he has some phenomenal performances, but then also plays like this a bit too often. As I said earlier, kind of forgot what made him good in the first place and is just now trying to crush every ball without being able to sustain it. But who knows? Maybe he can still turn it around. Goes back and down the line. There's a net court that should help Cazaux, and indeed, the Frenchman picks off the ball at the net. 2 points away from claiming the opening set now. Arnaldi trying to go down the line. Tough to say what would have happened if he makes that shot. I mean, he definitely would have been on top of the point, but the net court helps Cazaux in this case. So just 2 points away now at 30 love. Cazaux forced to crouch when trying to reply to this return from Arnaldi, but it's not going to be over the net. Doesn't get a clean hit on it. Still 2 points away. Arnaldi throwing some moves or whatever away from the court. Maybe that's also what happened to him later. So now he's extra earlier. So now he's extra cautious. And this time the drop shot from Arnaldi is spot on. Cazaux was on the back foot. Cazaux was behind the baseline. Once again, just not doing much with the ball. And it's a smart call here from Arnaldi to try to finish it off with a dropper. Once again, you can kind of say that, well, Cazaux got the serve in, and then after that, just content on rallying with Arnaldi. And from time to time it works, and from time to time he gets burned by that. So I guess it's all about the balance, and the balance has been right for him so far. But, 2 points away from the set, but also 2 points away from a 5-all tie. So let's see. Arnaldi, this time he's in front, and he should easily get this point done. Yes, indeed. Once again, a deep return, and it results in him getting a short ball to crack. Breakpoint for Matteo. He was low 30 down here on return. Very close to dropping the opening set. But now needs just one more nice point in order to get us back to level terms. And once again, I mean, it's Arnaldi on the front foot. It's Arnaldi having everything his way, and he hits a couple of great forehands cross court, follows it up with another drop shot. This time Cazaux barely catches it, I think, before the second bounce, but he can't direct it back into the court. So 5 games all, and despite being so close to taking the opening set at 5-4 30 love, once again, Cazaux kind of pays the price for being so passive. It's a shame because that's kind of what his game was last year as well. That the first serve was great, but if he wasn't setting up points for himself with the first serve, then it was pretty hard for him to do anything. And it seemed like, especially maybe at the end of the season, but obviously more so at the beginning of this year, he made massive progress in that sense. Like suddenly he was taking over with his forehand. Suddenly he was even recovering from points, sort of counter punching his way into them. Of course, he's a very good athlete. He's very fast around the court too, so that's also a viable strategy. But doesn't seem like in this match it's working out. I mean, I understand that he's not taking initiative like so easily with the forehand and going to the net or something. It's just hard to do this on clay, I guess, from his perspective. But yeah, just the fact that even from the defense he's not able to do that much. But now Arnaldi just misses two smashes in a row. First of all, I don't even know if I would classify it as a smash. It was more of an overhead volley. This one definitely a smash, and he misses two of them and finds an ace down the tee. No, really, no. I thought it was an ace. Never mind then. So low 30, and I suppose it was a let. That's why, because I felt it landed in second serve then because he misses the repeated one. And another +1 error, but this time on the backhand. He tries to approach after it, but just dumps it into the net. This has been a horrible game for Arnaldi. I don't think he's made a shot yet. I mean, he's hit 3 shots other than the serve and missed all of them. So I guess a perfect finish for that game would be a double fault. We are halfway into a double fault. He misses his first serve, but obviously players miss their first serves a lot more than the second, so it's not really halfway. And he gets the serve in, and this time finds a backhand +1 winner. So no rallies so far in this game. Sorry, have gone over 3 shots. We either have Arnaldi missing or we have him killing the point right away. 1540, so still in big trouble. Cazaux gets the return over the net. This time the Arnaldi drop shot isn't that good, but it seems like the net cord once again will help the Italian. Cazaux not to... No, actually last time it helped Cazaux, sorry. So not once again. This time the drop shot was definitely gettable. Cazaux got to it, tried to play this nice soft shot across the net, but the net cord just sort of made it go up into the air, and that was kind of the death sentence. So one more breakpoint now. And it's an ace down the tee. Once again, he comes up with the goods when he really needs them, Arnaldi. What a weird game. I mean, the first 3 points, error after error, and 2 smashes at that, or at least 2 overheads. But now he's actually winning. Well, he's a deuce, but, he's serving. And in general, this has been a messy match so far, for sure. Most of that is on Arnaldi. But at the same time, I mean, Cazaux is not really doing much to be the one on the front foot and just to have that burden of controlling play. So it kind of has to be all on Arnaldi, who double faults now. So one more breakpoint then, 4th one in this game. Cazaux didn't take a low 30 lead. Didn't convert a low 30 lead. Can he get this breakpoint? Nope. The +1 forehand winner from Arnaldi says no. And again, I mean, I don't think we've seen a rally longer than like 5 shots in this one. Well, maybe there was one that went up to like 6 or 7. That one with the drop shot that was chased down. But no, actually, that was just 5 shots. So I think the longest rally in this game has been 5 shots on clay courts. Does that say something about the quality of this match? Maybe. Definitely not positive. Nothing positive. Backhand cross court from Arnaldi. Cazaux trying to chase it down, but that's an easy volley for. Oh! Cazaux is on the floor. And he grabs his ankle, but that was interesting. I mean, I don't think he was even running at that stage. Let me rewind this actually. I don't think he was running at that stage. I think he was just like he gave up on chasing that Arnaldi volley. So I think this happened pretty much after the point even. Hopefully it's not another Luca Nardi situation. Oh no, okay. So he stopped, he gave up on running after that volley, but he tried to stop by sliding, and that's when it happened. Nacho Forcadell is off the chair, Cazaux is lying on the floor, and I guess we'll be calling the physio now. Hopefully it's not another Luca Nardi situation again. In the meantime, Ajdukovic 3 games to love up in the second set on Trunkeliti, so maybe we'll see the decider there. Bautista Agut and Safiurin still on serve in the second. Navone serving for the first set against Darderi at 5-2. But yeah, this is pretty scary. Well, they're saying on my email that rain stopped in Munich and that they will be playing now, again with a revised order of play, but nothing changing for the singles play. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens here with Cazaux. They're gonna show this to us on a replay too. He tracks down this ball, and here, yeah, he just okay, yeah. So he slides. He tries to stop the slide with his right foot, and that's when he snaps it, rolls his ankle. I think. Is this actually? Oh my goodness! Yeah, I don't think this is gonna. I think the match is over probably. Are we already done, or are we gonna attempt to? I think Arnaldi is cleaning up the bench for Arthur. Yeah, I mean, the physio is going to try to do something, it seems. I don't think we're done yet, but it seems that his ankle is swollen and he was like, he couldn't even walk to the bench. The physio had to help him out. So I don't think we've said no yet. I think we're still going to try to patch up that ankle in any way, but wow. All right. So what happened? Gene says Arnaldi. Cazaux was basically gave up on trying to chase an Arnaldi volley, and he tried to stop his movement with a slide. He slid on his right foot and rolled his ankle. We'll see. I mean, for now, who ankle? Cazaux. I don't think he's gonna play really. I mean, when I saw how much, how swollen his ankle was and how he couldn't walk basically, but we'll see. I mean, for now, the physio is trying to do something about it, but we have to see. And also the previous match for Cazaux, right, the one in Miami, ended with a heat stroke, so it would be very unfortunate if that happens twice. But anyway. Do you agree at club level tennis, whoever has to hit the most backhands will almost always lose? I don't think that's club level tennis. I think that's pro tennis, in fact. Like that really holds up 90% of the time in at most levels. 90% of players have their forehands as the stronger shot and they try to play it, maybe some will try to play it like every single time they can. Some will not be as strict about it and just are fine with hitting off their backhands, but still it's the shot that people more sort of intuitively can hit through. So I don't think that's really a club level tennis thing. I think that's all levels of tennis. Caffeine kills your appetite. That's interesting because nothing kills my appetite. I'll think about it then. Unfortunately, I don't like coffee, but sugar-free drinks are fine. Maybe not energy drinks, but like, I could take a Coke Zero or whatever. Nice conversation there between David and Ghosty in the chat. I do have to say I am on Ghosty's side. I mean, I hope he tore something. That's too much. But hope you're only joking, really. This looks worse than the Nardi injury earlier, but for now we're still trying. We'll see. And I think that's over now. There's a hug between the two guys. Lots of good sportsmanship from Arnaldi as well, but unfortunately, I think the match is over. Yes, indeed. Matteo Arnaldi wins it after Artur Cazaux is forced to retire after this injury. This is just horrible luck, especially as, of course, recently we had Artur fainting in Miami with a heat stroke, but what can you do? Thank you guys for being here in the chat, but unfortunately, that's how the match ends. I'm not even going to give you too much of a comment on this. Who medical? Cazaux has already retired, so yeah, that's who injured himself. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give you too much of a comment even. I think Arnaldi was clearly the player with, who was dominating the rallies, who was the one who probably, if he cut down on some of the errors, was going to win this. But yeah, we never will get the chance to see it. So it's a shame for Cazaux, definitely, as he, the last two matches that he had ended in retirements, and it's probably retirements that will end, that sort of will mean that he's out for 2 or 3 weeks, right? Both in terms of Miami and in terms of Barcelona. So it's a little bigger shame in that case. Thank you, David. Thank you, Ghosty, and everyone else. We'll see you. I'll see you on some other streams. I don't think we're going to have anything else today. But of course, also keep tuning into whatever John will be posting from Stuttgart as he's at the event this week. Who you think will win? I mean, definitely not Artur Cazaux, who just retired. Once again, thank you guys, and I'll see you around.